Hello and welcome to Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough joint managers Neil Baker and John Underwood. How are you, gents?
Very well, thanks.
Excellent, thanks, John. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Well rested after holiday breaks?
Yep, raring to go.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And only 5 weeks to the start of the season now, and got the boys all back together. So, what's the squad news?
We had our first session tonight, Thursday night, which was a really positive session. We had. We'll get straight into the new faces, shall we? We have five new faces there tonight who've all committed to us for the coming season. First of all, we've brought in another goalkeeper, a lad called Mark Scott, who was with Oxford City in the Conference North last season. Played a good number of games for them. He was at Swindon as a pro for 4 years. He's, I think, 24, 25, that kind of age.
He went out on loan to Salisbury.
Yeah, he's played that kind of Conference South and Conference North football. Big lad, 6'4". Good presence, and him and Luke and young Matty Bonnet trained with Trent tonight, and they all trained really well by all accounts. So that's a positive one to bring in.
What was the thinking behind bringing in another keeper?
We want competition throughout the side, and I think it's quite normal when you have plenty of forwards, plenty of midfield, and quite often you don't do that in goal, and there's no reason why you should just have one keeper with no competition. So we're going to have a situation where we may have tough decisions ahead, but we need that, and we need players to push each other. And the reaction of Luke tonight to Scotty coming in was really positive, and they both worked well together. So
it was a conscious decision. I think in the past we've been probably a little bit guilty of going with one keeper who knows he's going to play week in, week out, and sometimes that can lead to sloppiness and things like that. Whereas I think two very good keepers sort of fighting it out is what we want, really.
So what are the new faces, are there?
Central. Well, we brought two in centrally, central defence-wise. First off, Gary McDonald. He's come back. So
you sure he's staying this time?
He's going to stay this time. We've talked it through with him. No, listen. When Gary left last year, we totally understood his reasons why, and there was no malice or anything on our part. We totally accepted his reasons, and we made a conscious effort to go out and get Gary. He's somebody we know very well, and he's an experienced player. He's an ex-pro. All the lads really, really took to him last year. I mean, I think he was only with us 3 weeks, and he made a big impact on the changing room just in that 3-week period. So he is your senior player that we've been looking for. He's just no nonsense. He's solid, and he's got that experience. So we're delighted to have him in.
We brought another centre half in, who was one that we knew less about, if we're honest. He was the captain at Marlow last season. Mark Bartley, who we know very well over there, the manager, recommended him to us. He decided to leave there when they got put in the South and West. A lad called Craig Scott. He's a Geordie lad, came down this time last year, ended up at Marlow. He captained them. And Bart saw him as being, the best centre half in that league last year. We didn't see him, but we had very good report from Bart's. We trust his judgment. He said he's a real leader, great lad, good character, no nonsense, kind of 6'3" centre half. So we met him for the first time tonight. He was everything we hoped he would be. Fitted in very well, and we were really impressed with him. And we've had a sit down with him afterwards, and he's agreed to come on board. So that's that's a second centre half.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you're not necessarily expecting something, something sometimes comes along, and I think he could be an important player for us potentially. So we're pleased with that, and we've signed Nathan Webb. Nathan, a lot of people might know Nathan or will know Nathan. He's sort of been ex-Burnham and Beaconsfield over the last sort of couple of years. Plays central midfield, right back, very versatile. Bundles and bundles of energy. He's played conference football for Hayes and Yeddings, played in the Conference South for Wealdstone and Farnborough. What is he? He's about 20.
I think he's quite young, 22, 23.
So he's still young, but he really impressed tonight as well in training. Came in, he's just somebody that will work hard, and he's got good quality about him as well. So we're delighted that he's joined, because he does give us that versatility as well.
Final one.
Final one, centre forwards, Lewis Putman. I think there's been one or two mentions, I think one or two whispers that he might have been coming our way, and we're delighted to have got him. He's a player who's been on our radar for a couple of years. I think 2 years ago he was on everyone's radar. He got 84 goals at Step 5 for Oxy Jets, and he went to Wealdstone. Tore us apart in pre-season, didn't he, 2 years ago? And then he did his cruciate the next week and was out for a year. So we tried to get him last year when he was on his way back, and they loaned him out to several sides in the Southern Central, and he got a good number of goals last year as well. We met him early in pre-season. He was a target, a big target for us, and we're really impressed by him and what he had to say. And we think he's got a real chance of having a good season ahead of him. He's a natural goal scorer, tall lad. I'd say his strength isn't aerially as such. He admits that himself, but he's got good technique. He's a great finisher, good movement, and again he trained well tonight. So gives us really good competition up front. We've got 4 forwards up front now at the moment, pushing each other for a place.
So what was the kind of squad size this evening at training, and have there been any injuries, or what's the news on those players that were injured at the end of last season?
Well, we're sort of working at the moment at about 22. There might be 1 or 2 more that come in. And there will be 1 or 2 that will leave. As I said, I think on the forum, at this time of the year, you're going to have players missing certain sessions because they're on holidays or weddings and things like that. So we had a few missing tonight, but I think we had 17 there tonight. So we had good numbers tonight. We're delighted with the returnees, should we say. Warren Harris trained tonight like he hadn't even been away, done a full session, just looked superb really, and we were delighted with him. Same with Jamie McClurg, done the full session. We weren't expecting Jamie to do the full session tonight, and he did, and again looked really, really good. Searsy did a good chunk of the session, and then sort of stepped out, because we're going to ease him in slowly. He needs to see how his ankle responds, especially to the hard grounds and things like that. So we need to keep an eye on him. And then Fowler is probably a few weeks away from starting training. He actually had a scan in the summer, and they actually said that his hamstring that he tore against Truro was about a 10 centimetre tear. So it was actually a really bad tear, and it was unconnected to anything he'd ever done before, and unconnected to his knee as well. So he's got a rehab session. So he was there tonight doing what he needs to do, and we expect him to be back soon as well. And that's really, really positive for us.
What was the first session about? Is it about, as some people argue, is it all about the running? Is it about getting them amongst the balls? How do you approach it?
Yeah, I think we've got a very firm idea about how we do things, and it's not for us to criticise anyone else. We're not saying our way is right, but what works for us is doing most things with the ball. The warm-up was fully with the ball. We did about 15 minutes work without the ball, hard work. But a lot of what we do is kind of small-sided games. We go down to 1v1, 2v2, and which is very kind of intense work. We didn't do so much of that tonight. It was, we were probably about 90% of what we'd normally do in pre-season tonight. You've got to realise Thursday night to Saturday morning, which is our next session, is not a lot of recovery. And I think we've just learnt from in the past where we've gone in and hit them hard first session, and then they turn up Saturday morning and there's stiffness and sore hamstrings and blisters, and they end up missing and sitting out a session. So it was still hard. They did work hard, but it wasn't quite as intense as it will be Saturday. But it was a lot about getting them, getting any rustiness out of their system, and getting the new boys integrated. So we mixed the groups up a lot, so they all got to know each other, and we were delighted with how it went. It couldn't really have gone any better tonight.
No, you sometimes when you're coming along for your first session, you're not quite sure how people are going to integrate and what the quality is going to be like after 6-7 weeks of not touching a ball. And say me and John come away buzzing, and it was because the quality was very good. And it was a good session. You come away and you're like, yeah, really enjoyed it. So
Was there any specific players who really stood out for you, really looking absolutely sharp?
I think there was a few, to be honest. You don't pick people out. I don't say. But there was a few that really did impress. I think out of the new boys, Nathan looked really really good. But they all did. All five of the new signings that trained tonight thought all looked good. So
everyone was where we hoped they'd be. And to be fair, it's a bit different to the. I think when me and you used to play, where players would go away for 2 months and eat badly, drink loads, not do any exercise. These lads look after themselves, and we were probably one of the last teams to come back. A lot of teams have done a few sessions already, but our belief is 5 weeks on Saturday till we start, and that's long enough to get these lads match fit. They've come back in decent condition, and our personal belief is if pre-season's any longer, then they end up burning out in pre-season, and that's not what you want. You don't need to peak in mid-July. You need to peak on August the 8th, and that's what we're hoping we'll do.
Funnily enough, Gary McDonald said tonight, didn't he? He said the biggest thing about pre-season is trying to make sure you don't pick up any injuries, and he's right. Last year we picked up a number of injuries, including Warren's one, which kept him out for the whole season. So you need a little bit of luck that we don't pick up anything serious, and we'll be in good shape if we do.
So how does the build-up continue from this point forward? Training obviously Saturday, is it then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays?
Yeah, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday we train, and then the first friendly at Farnborough next Saturday, and then we kind of go into
2 games a week. And
Saturday,
session.
Tuesday friendlies and Thursday training sessions. So there's we've got 8 games, lots of opportunity to look at things. There's different partnerships we'll look at, and we'll mix it up, and certain players. The idea is to get some 90 minutes into players as you go through pre-season, and we've got enough games to be able to do that.
In terms of trying to integrate, a lot of new signings here, some new faces mixing in. How do you integrate both on and off the pitch?
Yeah, well, it is about sort of team bonding as well. I mean, we'll always we always have a sort of barbecue at John's, normally the last weekend of the season. So when we play Ascot, we're playing them obviously at midday kickoff. And then the side will then go to John's for a barbecue, and we get everyone together and have a few drinks, and you sort of try and then get a few stories, and you get them together that way. And I think you need nights out. We didn't do it quite as much last year. It's something normally I'm pretty good at in terms of trying to organise team nights out, and I probably didn't do that as much as I should have last year, and it's something that we'll be concentrating on, because it has served us well in the past. Because at the end of the day, these lads aren't professionals. They're young lads. They love their football. They enjoy a night out, and if you can mix that whereby you've got players who are turning up and looking forward to playing with their mates, then you're sort of halfway through the battle.
And finally, what are you most looking forward to at the moment? What's getting you excited?
To be honest, just each session really, getting the lads together. We're really happy with the players we've brought in. As Bake said, there's 1 or 2 others we could potentially look at in the next week or 2 as well. Our job now is to, this is where we need to earn our corn, if you like, and get these boys fully integrated. Get the fitness levels right. We're just generally quite excited at the minute. I think if we're totally honest, we were a little bit flat at the end of last season. At the end, the season didn't end as we hoped. Normally, I hate it when the season ends. I think we were both ready for a break last season, and I think some of the players were the same. And maybe that reflected in a few of the performances. And it was a tough season last year, and we've fully refreshed ourselves over the summer, and we just feel really excited again, and not kind of over the top. We're going to win the league and all this sort of stuff. We know it's going to be a really tough league this season.
And I think that's another thing that sort of got me energised is the fact that it is such a tough league this year. There's some great sides in it, some big sides, and it's nice. We talked about it a couple of years back when we were playing at step 4, and we wanted to be at step 3, and and then you want to be at step 2. But you're looking at some of the sides you're playing against this season, and they're the types of sides you want to be playing against. And it's an opportunity to try and measure yourself up against your Weymouths and Ketterins and Merthers and teams like that who are big clubs, and I'm sure have got decent sized budgets and whatever else. But that's the sort of type of thing that excites me.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing what this journey holds ahead of us for this season. Good luck with pre-season. Let's keep our fingers crossed for no injury news. And we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, cheers, John.
Thank you.